Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my June TBR, so let's jump in. My June TBR is a little crazy and I don't know why I have 22 books on my TBR when I'm averaging like 5 to 6 books a month. But these are all just the books that I really want to read. Some of these I will get to, and obviously some I won't, but there are some that for sure I need to tackle in June. We're gonna start off with some ebooks that I have on my Kindle. I would love to get to Bloom by Delilah Dawson. First off, this cover is amazing. Second of all, I just recently read The Violence by her. I think that's what I started 2024 with, reading The Violence, which I have been wanting to read for such a long time, and I loved it so much and I thought it was so unique that I'm like, you know what, I want to read everything that she writes. And so Bloom is a book that she recently wrote. My friend is having sort of like a spring, like a laid back spring reading challenge over on Instagram, and I still have a couple books that I want to read before spring is over, which in June, that's it. I mean, technically the weather feels like it's already summer, but like factually, it doesn't start till June 20th or whenever, around June 20th. And so I still have a little bit of time to get some of my spring reading in, and this is one of the books that I want to read for that challenge. So I don't know much about it. I'm gonna go into the book blind because that's how I went into The Violence, was blind, and I enjoyed that book so much. Another book that I would love to get to in June is The Orphanage by the Lake by Daniel G. Miller. This is a Kindle Unlimited book. I downloaded this book because it ticks off one of the bookmarks for the spring reading challenge over on Kindle Unlimited. The reason why I chose this one, I'm solely basing it off the cover, and also because none of the other books that I saw on the list were books that I really wanted to read. So I ended up choosing this one. Don't know much about it. It says, a missing girl, an orphanage full of secrets. Hazel wants a new life. She's 30 years old, single, and her private investigation business is months away from folding. Her luck takes a turn when Madeline Hemsley, a mysterious socialite, pays Hazel a visit with an offer too enticing to resist. So that's all I want to know. I don't want to read any more of the synopsis. It just sounds really interesting, and this cover, this ominous like orphanage building cover, is just delicious. The next book I want to read is The House That Horror Built by Christina Henry. I actually got an e-arc of this and haven't read it yet. It came out earlier this month. I think it was last week that it came out, and so I really want to get to it. I don't know much about it. I want to go in semi-blind. All I know is that there's this lady that works at this house or this mansion where she cleans for this horror director, or like a horror movie director, I think. Do not quote me, but I would really love to get to this one. I've only read a couple of Christina Henry's books and they haven't been the best for me. I think they've been 3-star reads, but I don't know why I have a feeling that when I like a book by her, I'm gonna be obsessed with the book. It's probably gonna be an all-time favorite. So I'm gonna continue looking for that book by her, but super excited to read this one as well, of course. Now let's get to my physical reads. There are 3 books in this stack that are gonna be a mystery. Back in December, I had asked my husband and my daughter to go through my entire book room and pick 12 books. And I basically created my little blind date with a book. I have rarely seen blind dates with a book around me. I know you can get them online now, but there's just something like nerve-wracking, not really nerve-wracking, that's a bit dramatic, but there's just something uneasy for me about getting a blind date with a book when I have like 1,000 books in my room that I could be reading, and I run the risk of buying a book that I might already have. Does that make sense? So I'm trying to read more of my collection, even though I'm bringing in more than I'm reading. And so I asked them to do this. My mom wrapped them. They are all wrapped in Christmas paper because, like I said, we did this in December. And guess what? I have yet to read one of those books. My whole intent was to open one a month and read that book, along with my 24 reads for 2024 that I've only read one book out of, and we're almost to June. Like, I know, it's crazy. So I picked 2 short books, and then my daughter, she said, this is not part of your collection. She grabbed it from her collection and she really wants me to read it. So I'm gonna be hopefully doing this in June along with these 2 short little books. So excited to see what they chose for me and what I'm forced to read from my collection. Also, I will be filming it, but it would be more like a collective video for the end of the year where there's little snippets of me opening and reviewing each book that they chose for me. So super excited for these 3. It really should be 6 books that I'm choosing, but I'm gonna start off with the 3 and then we'll worry about catching up in the next month. I wanna also read, if not all 3, at least one of these books that Matt McMahon, I try to say that like 7 times and I could not. He sent me these books last year in the summertime and I still haven't read it. I haven't gotten around to it. So like I said, I don't know if I'll get to all 3 books. I would really like to get to all 3 books, but at least one for sure I want to get to. But these are just middle grade horror books like Goosebumps and stuff, and so I'm excited to see what they are all about. Then I also want to get to Blood in the Cut by Alejandro Nodarse, I really don't know how to say his last name, I'm so sorry, but this book comes out the first week of June, and so that's why I want to get it read in June, and I'm excited to read it. It's supposed to be a crime fiction. I believe maybe it's his debut novel, because it says here introducing a new voice in crime fiction. So I don't know if it's just in crime fiction and he has other genred books. That did not make sense. Or if this is just his first book. But this takes place in Miami, I believe. I know it's in Florida, but I think it's specifically in Miami or the Everglades. I remember reading something like that in the synopsis, but excited to read this one. Next book that I would love to get to is The Paleontologist by Luke Dumas. We did get this in one of our Nightworms packages. The cover really intrigued me and I'm like, I need to read this. It says here, a haunted paleontologist returns to the museum where his sister was abducted years earlier and is faced with a terrifying and murderous spirit in this chilling novel. I remember when we first got this book, I wanted to drop everything and just read it just by the damn cover. Getting back into those books that I would really love to get to before summer gets here for my friends' laid back spring challenge are these next 3 books. The first one is The Boatman's Daughter by Andy Davidson. Horror book, horror author. So excited for this. This has been on my shelves for about 3 years and I'm dying to get to it. So I'm gonna do so for this challenge. Don't know much about this. I wanna go in blind. So maybe you can Google what this is about. Wow, I'm horrible. Also, this anthology called Evil Roots, Killer Tales of the Botanical Gothic. I talked about some of these books in my book haul. I ended up adding 3 more to the British Library, Tales of the Weird. And then the last book that I would love to get to before summer gets here and for that reading challenge is The Forest of Hands and Teeth by Carrie Ryan. This girl, Mary, she lives in this village and they are like protected by the guardians and they can never pass the fence. It's giving cult, it's giving apocalyptic, it's giving, I don't know what else, but this cover is like creepy AF. And then the rest of these are where my summer reading is gonna start. I chose a few thrillers that I would love to get to this summer. Reckless Girls. I don't know, this cover just gives me summer vibes. It always stands out to me when I look at my book of the month shelves and I think it's time to read it, by obviously Rachel Hawkins. The Night Swim, because I want to watch the damn adaptation. I keep forgetting about it. So here we are. I finally want to read this. I know that I am like probably the last person on earth to read this. I know, dramatic. But I have a feeling that I'm gonna love it. And then I also want to read Dark Corners, which is by the same author as The Night Swim. But look at these covers, like the 2 faces are so ominous, like in the background of the cover. Love it.
I know, I'm such a cover whore. I
would love to get to The Devil in the White City for the buzzword for June, which is, I believe that a word repeats in the title and the is twice in this title. So just a book that's been on my TBR forever, and I think it's the perfect time to sneak it in with a challenge. It is kind of a thick book. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is a fiction book, but it has nonfiction characters in it, but it's fictionalized, and it has to do with the creator of the World's Fair along with Jack the Ripper. I think that this has to do with Jack the Ripper somehow. The final book that is on my June TBR is Vampiric Vacation, which is book 2 in the Sinister Summer series by Kirsten White. And I ended up reading Wretched Water Park last year for the summertime and wasn't able to get to the rest of the series, which I really wanted to jump right in just so that I wouldn't forget anything about the characters or anything, any feelings or emotions that I had with them. I really did not want a year to pass. But here we are, it has. I'm excited to see what they're up to and what adventures they're gonna get into in book 2.
My brain really was not working for this one today.
So that's it. Those are all the books that I would love to get to in the month of June. Like I said earlier in the video, I've been averaging 5 to 6 books a month. So I don't know why I thought that 20 plus books on my TBR was a good idea, especially now that the summertime is coming and my reading actually goes down, because I'm just an outdoorsy kind of person. I love to be outdoors in the summer, and unfortunately I can't be outdoors and read at the same time because my attention just goes to everything that's going on around me. So it was crazy of me to put this many books on my TBR. I hope that there's like a little miracle and like that I'm manifesting that I want to read this much, and that it just happens and I get them all ready.
Can you imagine if I come back in July and be like, oh, my June wrap up, I read all of the books on my June TBR?
Wishful thinking. So that's it, you guys. Those are all the books that I would love to get to in the month of June. Let me know if you've read any of these and what is on your June TBR. Let's chat books in the comment section down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.